Buyers will ghost you. Let me tell you now, they will ghost you, right?
This property had been overpriced by probably about £300,000 to £400,000.
Wow. We're international, don't worry, we're international. The plane is on the runway at all times.
It's about consistency, building relationships.
Like, I certainly don't go to a surgeon and say, this is what you need to do. It's certainly, but when it comes to real estate, everybody does that.
Precisely.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Real Estate Talk Pod. You're here with me, James, and my beautiful wife, Vicky. We talk about everything real estate. We don't pad it out. We tell you straight what's happening, pipelines, name it, stories, and everything you want to hear. So, what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about one of my favourite topics.
Oh yeah, what's that then? What is that?
So this is a topic I love talking about at the end of a busy day when
Yes.
a huge announcement happens.
Yes.
And James is on the road. He comes home from work and I'm like, oh my God, tell me all about this. So we're actually talking about our sales agreed. So for successes that we've had during the month recently, our sales pipeline, how we got that a specific sale over the line, any challenges we faced getting that sale agreed. So I know there's one that I really would love to, I think the audience to hear about, but I loved you speaking about at the time it came in. So tell me, James, tell me about one of your most recent sales agreed and, you know, the background behind it.
Yeah, sure. No worries at all. So I'll talk about a property, 5-bed end terrace in Wandsworth, which I'll go with Jeremy and Darren. And we took that property on, we door knocked it, we got to meet the owner. I had an initial meeting with the owner. Actually, when we had the meeting with the owner brought their neighbours in to the meeting. Lovely. So it kind of felt like we had to obviously present and pitch our business, but also get approval from the neighbour because the owner really trusted the neighbour and so forth. So we had an initial conversation. The house has been on the market for over a year with local agents. The owner unfortunately had lost her husband a couple of years ago. So she wanted to downsize. She didn't need a 5-bed end terrace house anymore. So it was more about understanding the owner's situation. And basically we came in and said, look, this is what the market is saying. We have to adapt the marketing strategy and also the pricing strategy to meet the demands of what the current market is saying. Because the expectations of the owner was my house is worth this. And that is historical kind of, you know, what could be achieved. So we had a conversation about, look, listen, this is what the market is saying now. This is where we need to come in at. We need to make it attractive and also an aggressive pricing strategy to get people through the door. So it was actually a fantastic home because the owner was really into interior design. And I'm talking the house had been...
My kind of owner.
I know. Like this house had been renovated twice. Wow. Like the kitchen had been moved to the front of the house so you can get a beautiful view of the common and also to ensure natural light flow through the whole house. So everything had been like planned and strategically done to make that house a bit of a showcase home. And that's one thing that was really, really kind of like, you know, we found like really kind of difficult to understand. You got this amazing house, but it's not getting sold. And you're in a prime area for like young working professionals, young families, good school catchment area, accessibility to the common and also to train station to get into central London. Why would no one want to buy this house? So effectively, we had the conversation. We went with a pricing strategy of offers over 2 million, which we felt that was what the market was actually kind of dictating on what the market was willing to deliver. The owner said, look, I'm looking for anything above 2 million. And then basically we got into a position where we had 5 buyers through the door and the negotiation process started. We had people that were interested, people that weren't interested, people that were, as in like when I say not interested, they came, they saw the property, they are looking, but they kind of were dragging their feet, you know, like, you know, and this happens all the time in real estate. It's not, guys, by the way, it's not a honky-dory. It's not like, oh, someone comes see a house, it's fantastic, they offer straight away.
No.
Buyers will ghost you. Let me tell you now, they will ghost you, right? So don't take it personal. I know, like, if you're dating in a relationship or like
he ghosted me,
you know, he ghosted me, she didn't return my text. Like, you have to have a strong chin. You got to keep going because you know your value, all right? And always keep your value.
100%.
And if a buyer is ghosting you, they're not the buyer for you.
Precisely.
Because at the end of the day, when you go through the sales process, and they stop turning up, or they don't activate their solicitor in time, or they don't do their mortgage evaluation in time and drag the deal out, the only person who's going to feel the pain is you. Like, that's the reality.
Know your worth and add tax, guys. Okay?
Yeah, that's the reality. So you got to have a strong chin. You got to be, your bounce back ability must be good.
Yep.
Like, you can't be waiting for someone to be like, oh, let me wait for them to call me back. If you don't have the right buyer, go out and search for the right buyer.
100%.
Go out educating buyers about the property. Use the marketing accordingly. Use the pricing accordingly. And when you have the conversations with them, let them know the quality they're buying. I think those things are quite important. So yeah, there were some owners that ghosted us. There were some owners that said, all right, come see my property. I'm looking to list my property. And that's the other thing as well. When you have buyers that are looking to buy a property, it's important that you actually understand their situation, because a buyer might go and see a property, but if their property is not on the market, they're not a proceedable buyer, and they're not A1 buyer.
Yep.
And if you're not A1 buyer, you're going to lose out. So effectively, when we had buyers come through the door, we're like, right, you're interested in this property, but you haven't sold your property yet. But one thing that'll be really useful is for us to do a market appraisal on your property, and you can know exactly the number that you can achieve for your property, which ensures that you know what the budget can be for the property you want to buy. So those things are quite important. So yeah, there were some buyers that we went through that process with. A buyer came to see it, got excited about it. We went to value their home, and their home was only worth about 1.7. So then they realized that, they're going to have a shortfall in buying this property. So this thing come into hand, and effectively they had to understand their budget. So that way it actually makes the buyers know if they can buy that house, not just fictional, but realistically what they can deliver. And then effectively we had a buyer that came and saw the property, and we had 5 buyers, as I said. So the buyer that actually bought the house came to see the property, came to see it with separately, brought his wife, brought the kids came to see it.
Family affair. Okay.
The whole family affair. And when the family turned up and the kids were arguing about bedrooms,
that's when you know.
I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you know that means they got buy into it, basically. This
makes it even more exciting.
This is nice, you know. And I was like, yeah, you can have this bed. No, she's older. She gets to pick first, that kind of thing. So effectively we got to a stage where that buyer then came in, they liked the property, they made an offer. The first offer was like around the 2 million mark. And I was like, right, there's demand on this property. We re-educated the buyers to understand, what the property was all about, and effectively the quality of the home they're buying, because it was a turnkey home, and had on the floor heating, everything, all the amenities that you want and more. You even had space to have like a guest room in the basement. You had a wine cellar. You had an underground parking for 2 cars. All the beautiful things. So we re-educated them every single time. You have to stick to your guns. You have to make them know what the property is worth, what the data is saying. And effectively, then they came back with a higher offer. And effectively, my vendor wanted a certain number, and then it was more about negotiating back and forth. That took a good couple of days to do, back and forth. But then that's part of the negotiation skills that we have.
Yep.
And effectively, we got to a comfortable position where both the buyer and the seller were happy. And it's all about reaching that agreement, because when you reach that agreement, and there's give on both sides, the buyers went way above their budget, the seller came down in terms of their expectation, but a number,
find a middle ground.
Exactly. A middle ground that worked for everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to say we sold that house in 21 days. That's how effective this process is to a house that's been on the market for over a year with 2 local agents, and they didn't get the results. So
well done,
anyway,
Dave.
That's the story. Sorry, I went into it a bit.
No. That's what it takes to sell £1 million property. It's not just a one stop shop and it's done in 1 week. Sometimes it's a back and forth negotiation process. It's educating buyers. It's making sure they understand, what value the property, what the property's worth.
Definitely.
And getting them to go that extra mile to secure their dream home, essentially. Well done.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Good job.
I appreciate that. There was a lot of emotional support at the background, and this woman was great for it. So don't worry about it.
I got you, Dave. I got you.
But let's talk about you and your listing sales agreed, because I know this is your favorite part. I know you're into that, and this is where the results start coming home. So let's talk about you.
I come alive during the negotiation process.
honestly. And also your customer success background. So you need to bring that into it as well, for sure.
Ooh, where do I start? Okay, so this one's an interesting one, and bear with me because this is a story.
Story.
I actually initially knocked this property. I knocked on the door of this homeowner back in December 2024.
Yeah. Wow. December 2024.
December 2024. It was either November or December. I think it was about around that time, end of November. Goodness. Because I was just surprised to see such a lovely home in Bromley on the market for such a long time. I was just surprised. So I felt like it was my duty to introduce myself to them. As soon as she opened the door, we were both just chuckling, smiling, like it was just such a natural, free-flowing conversation. Yeah. She was hesitant because she never met me before.
Yeah.
But we exchanged information and we stayed in contact, and she just wasn't ready, and that was okay. We actually arranged a meeting, but she had to keep rescheduling the meeting, unfortunately, more so due to personal reasons.
Yeah.
In the family.
Yeah.
And then it came around to sort of, I guess, January. We checked in again. She still wasn't quite ready just yet, and then but I just stayed in touch, and that's the key thing about
100%.
This job, about what we do. It's about consistency, building relationships, staying in touch with, homeowners. And I guess when it came around to springtime, she was ready.
Yeah.
And she invited me in. I sat down with her and her husband, and we had a really good conversation, and they were very impressed by the strategy. And one thing that really stood out for them was the international network and also our social media. But also bearing in mind, they are more of an older couple. They didn't really know much about social media. Yeah. So I had to sit down and really educate them.
Yes, indeed. Of course. But that's probably what their grandkids are into rather than them, right? So exactly. You have to give them that educational piece.
Precisely. But more importantly, I really had to educate them on the price of their property.
Yeah.
That was a real sticking point. Because I think this is a really big conversation that we need to have more. We need to have around pricing more in this industry. And in my opinion, the disservice that a lot of agents, local agents, I'm not going to name any names, but the disservice they are doing to their clients by overpricing properties. This property had been overpriced by probably about £300,000 to £400,000.
Wow. So
when you're going into a meeting and that couple have been educated on a different level to what you're educating them on, they're looking at me like, what are you talking about? No, I've had 3 other agents locally tell me that my property is worth 1.75 million.
Yeah.
If anything, at the very least, 1.65 million. And where I had the property valued was, quite a bit lower than that. And it's about showing them the data and focusing specifically on what the data is saying and not what they want.
Yeah.
As much as I can do my best to try to help them achieve what they want, realistically, that we need to come to a middle ground and really understand that what you may want may not be what buyers can afford.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, and that's the important bit because you're the expert.
Yeah.
And you need to let the vendors need to know you're the expert at actually knowing you sell luxury real estate every single day.
Yeah.
You live and breathe it. Yeah. And they need to understand that you understand the market more than what they're thinking, the fictional number they're thinking about.
Yeah. So one of the key market indicators was actually a property that we had sold in the area. And I said, look, even based on a property that we had sold in the area at the highest pound per square foot in the area, we broke a record in the area. Your property at 1.75 million falls way above that. So you're ostracizing yourself by being on at that price, and that's why they didn't get any inquiries, they didn't get any offers. So that's an indication that it was overpriced.
Yeah.
So they agreed to that, but they wanted me to try their pricing strategy first before we decided to go down to my recommendation. I said, look, we can try it.
Yeah.
I'll put you in offers, but we need to come to the lower end of what you're trying to achieve. So we did put them in at offers over 1.5 million to begin with, which is still higher than the valuation I gave them.
Yeah.
But it gave some wiggle room for some buyers to potentially approach us.
Got it.
So
to generate interest.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, though, we did have about 6 inquiries, even at that price point.
Oh, okay.
We had an open house. Buyers did come in, but the buyer feedback indicated that it was overpriced.
There you go.
even at the offers over 1.5.
There you go.
We had a few serious buyers and a few not so serious buyers, as you do.
Yes.
There were two standout buyers. One was non-proceedable,
Yeah.
but they were confident that their property would sell quite quickly.
Yeah.
And the other was a cash buyer who loved the property, but, and this has come up before in some of our conversations, their wife hadn't seen the property. Their wife was their international buyer. Their wife wasn't in the country at the time for the open house.
Yeah.
As much as he loved the property and he wanted to proceed, because his wife hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
No, I've got to speak to the missus.
Yeah,
you know that typical conversation. Got to speak to the missus.
Yeah. Got to get the approval.
Yeah.
So the sign off.
Yeah. So, I mean, we, communicate. There was interest, but we communicated to him, look, I appreciate, you love the property, but he wasn't willing to make an offer without his wife seeing it first. He did indicate that he, where his offer might come in at. We booked in for his wife to see the property. That didn't happen because she couldn't come into the country at that time.
Okay.
So it got to the point where actually time was no longer on our side. We needed to make a move. We needed to make a decision on a new pricing strategy that would ensure that we got as many buyers interested as possible.
Yeah.
And the longer a property is on the market, as you know, the more it looks like there's something wrong.
Of course.
And you want to hit the property while you want to get, hit buyers while the property is still hot.
No, certainly.
Because it's my job to ensure that I get the best price for my client. The non-proceedable buyer had to sell their property before they could make an offer on our property.
Yes.
They're already on market, so I couldn't do evaluation, unfortunately.
I see, okay.
But their property hadn't sold as quickly as they were thought it would. So they had to do a price reduction on their home.
Yeah.
So time was the clock was ticking.
Yeah.
And so I had to do a customer review with my client, and I typically do customer reviews at least a month after we go live.
Yeah.
So it's been a month now.
Yeah. Sense check.
About 3 weeks to a month. We sat down. We went through the data again. I pulled some more market indicators of more sold properties that have been recently sold. And I said, look, guys, this is the data. This is the buyer feedback. I appreciate, we went through your strategy first, but now is the time to move. Now is the time to strike, and we need to ensure we can sell your property in order to get you into your dream home. Because by this time, the owner had actually found their dream home.
Wow.
And I had been able to also negotiate a lower price on their dream home for them. So I wasn't just their selling agent, I was also their buying agent.
Now the urgency just been turned up.
Exactly. Now the urgency was there. Not only was the new pricing strategy feasible because, of the buyer feedback, but it was even more feasible because I had negotiated quite a considerable amount off their onward purchase. So it helped make up the difference.
Exactly.
The new price of their existing home.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were like, you know what? Yes, let's do it. So we set a pricing strategy of offers over 1.25 million, quite an aggressive one.
Yes, of course.
But the goal was still the same,
yeah.
to get the absolute max out of the sale.
Yeah.
And that drew in quite a lot of interest. We had now 8 new inquiries on the property.
Wow.
We hosted another open house.
Amazing.
And not only did all the new buyers come through, the non-proceedable buyer who needed to sell their property had now finally sold their property.
Oh, wow.
So they were now proceedable.
In a better
and
position.
I knew this because throughout that whole month, I was messaging them frequently, keeping in contact with that buyer. And that's why it's extremely important to stay in touch with buyers at all stages of whatever process they're in.
Oh,
and, they came in, they saw the other buyers that were interested, and they saw the urgency to make an offer. We had 6 offers on the table at the end of that open house, including their offer.
Amazing.
And we were able to negotiate £100,000 over the asking price.
Wow.
So we finished at 1.35 million.
Amazing.
Which actually was above my valuation in the end.
Oh, wow. Right?
And set a new record in the area as being the highest pound per square foot of the in the last 12 months.
What a result. What an absolute result.
Yes. One thing I did forget to mention, though, was the marketing was absolutely fantastic on that property. Every single one of those buyers absolutely loved how we showcased the property.
Yeah.
Some of the new buyers that came through to the second open house were also non-proceedable. And because of how we showcased the property, wanted me to come through to do valuations for their properties, because they can see the way in which we showcase properties is a lot more innovative, a lot more impactful.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, you know, if you market a property correctly, if you set the right price from the very beginning,
100%.
you can most definitely generate a really, really good price for your vendors. So I'm very, very pleased for this couple. I call them mum and dad now, actually.
That's what happens.
We've been for a journey together.
We've become a family.
So yeah, we've got all sales agreed now. Every single person in that chain has found their dream home.
Fantastic.
I actually went to go and see the owners onward purchase with them, and I'm so pleased for them. It's an absolutely stunning property. I got them a really good bargain on that house. I can't lie.
Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah, it
amazing.
was. Such a good journey.
One incredible story. Like, that's absolutely fantastic results you just delivered. Like, you should be over the moon about that, because there's a lot of work that go into that. There's so many steps to that as well, because you got the stepping stone in terms of, this is what I think your house is worth. You don't want to go to this pricing strategy. Okay, I'll adapt to what you want me to do.
Yeah.
But then the evidence came in when you had the buyers come to that first open house and say, this house is overpriced. The market was speaking.
Yeah.
And when the owners understood that, because sometimes it takes that.
Yeah.
You might say certain thing, like, I certainly don't go to a surgeon and say, this is what you need to do. It's certainly, but when it comes to real estate, everybody does that.
Precisely.
And you know, the vendor might say, hey, I think my house is worth this, but sometimes you need to show that evidence.
Yeah.
And when you show that evidence, it reinforces what you said, gains the credibility.
Exactly.
And then they now come back to you and say, you know what, Victoria, let's go with what you said. And by them going with what you said, not only did you get offers on the table, then you got them a higher pound per square foot for the area. So you smashed the pound per square foot goal. And then you got them over 100,000 pounds above asking.
Precisely.
That's absolutely fantastic result.
Yeah.
And that is what it's about. And sometimes you need to just be, you are the expert. You need to stick to what you know.
Exactly.
The knowledge you have and the expertise you have in that industry.
Yeah.
And let that come across. And let them see the evidence.
Yeah.
And keep sticking to your guns, because so many other people might have not done that and gone, oh, you know what? Let me do what the vendor wants me to do.
And they become a yes man. And then, but even if you do give the owner the opportunity to set their strategy, do it with a caveat that if it doesn't work, we are going to go with mine.
Exactly.
And that sometimes is just the case. Not every vendor is going to work in the same way. You have to adapt to, you know, the kind of person you're speaking with. But it does build credibility and it does build trust, most importantly.
Spot on.
So yeah.
Happy days.
Happy for them.
Indeed.
Happy for the buyers too. They absolutely love the property.
Indeed.
So
and well deserved as well. I'm sure you can't wait to get paid for that one.
Oh yeah. Can't wait. On to the next one though.
On to the next one, exactly. Celebrate for 5 minutes. 100%. We go on to the next one for sure.
So I mean, yeah, that kind of concludes that.
Yes.
I guess part of what we wanted to talk about. But how do you think sales are going to be different in Dubai?
Do you know what? I think sales in Dubai are going to be a lot more fast-paced. And I think, you know, people go, oh, if it's fast-paced, does that mean there's a burnout? I don't think so. I think there's just more appetite for more business. Yeah. But like everything, there'll be a fine balance. As long as you are working in a very, productive, high value kind of environment, looking after yourself, you know, that kind of stuff, you're always going to be excited to deliver sales. So for me, I just think those kind of stories we just mentioned here in Dubai, off plan, is very, very quick, and secondary market is very quick as well, because it's not as red tape as the UK. You got to wait for solicitors, you got conveyancing process and so forth as well. I mean, in 2025, the Q1 report actually shows that 67% of sales in Q1 of 2025 were all cash.
Interesting. In Dubai?
In Dubai.
Oh, wow.
All cash. So now
they predominantly do sort of rely on cash versus mortgage.
Exactly. And also Dubai is so innovative in its approach that, you know, people are actually buying properties through crypto. Right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
You can never buy a property through crypto. Not in the UK. No, there's no solicitor's going to sign that off.
No way.
So I just think in Dubai it's more fluid. Cash, crypto, less red tape. You don't need a solicitor to do a survey. A solicitor to do all this searches and all that kind of stuff. So everything's very fast paced. Developer, buyer, agent, meet. do the transaction, drop your EOI, exchange, drop the check, job done.
I think that kind of comes down to the fact that most of their buildings have been built to a really good standard.
Indeed.
So there isn't that necessarily as much requirement for, searches and inquiries and things like that to be done. It just send us the information, send us the pack. Almost like, it's kind of like an auction process. What auction is like in the UK. You have a legal pack. It has all the information you need to know about the property. So it's a quicker transaction.
Yeah, exactly. So speed of transactions was all about. Yeah. We all know in the UK, as you know, the data always says, how long it takes to sell a property in the UK?
187 days.
Exactly.
On average.
So 187 days.
And that's on average.
On average.
So some are actually more than that. Oh my God. So
on average. 187 days on average. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Dubai, it's a couple of weeks, couple of days, that kind of thing.
Maybe a month.
Exactly. So, I mean, but everybody has their appetite. Obviously, everybody, some people would like, people would like to invest in different countries. Dubai might not be for everybody. The UK might be more of a stable, well-tested heritage type of industry. But it all depends on, what your flavor is. That's the reality of it. But the beauty about us is we do both. So whatever, if you're old school, if you're like, I want to stay in the UK, and we got you. If you're like, what, I want to get an investment property in Dubai that's going to give me double-digit yield, we got you as well.
Or if you want to go home, it's best of both. You want to invest in Dubai and the UK, we got you.
Indeed. We're international. Don't worry, we're international. The plane is on the runway at all times, so we're international. We'll definitely always be there for all our clients and to ensure we deliver a good service every single time.
So guys, we have been your dynamic real estate duo,
yes.
Vicky and James.
Thank
you for watching another episode of the Real Estate Talk Pod. We have thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Absolutely love it.
We've got so much more coming up. We are still on the journey of prepping to go to Dubai, so please bear with us.
Indeed.
But in the meantime, subscribe, follow us on our YouTube channel, follow us on our socials, Real Estate Talk Pod, as well as Victoria's Real Estates and Doherty Luxury Real Estates. Yeah. But thank you for your support. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode and stay tuned.
We appreciate you. Speak soon.